Williams having a brilliant first half. World-class save.
In the Noongar word, we would say nourrit, which means deadly and unique and awesome. A little girl from Kalgoorlie playing around the world, international, man, that's awesome.
In Rio, it was a time where it all started, and I think it was a team of where we were coming into ourselves. We were definitely still maturing.
Oh, what a save that is from Lydia Williams.
We were a good team, but I think we needed that consistency of playing at high-level competitions.
Oh, and it's saved. Would you believe it?
We made it, all the way to the game against Brazil and lost in the penalty shootout.
And it's all over. Brazil have made it through to the semi-finals. Australia so close to a first ever semi-final appearance.
The beauty with Australians is they take every kind of disappointment and build on it. And I definitely think that's what we did. We don't want to feel like that again. The Olympics in Tokyo was definitely different.
It has been a historic run for the Matildas. They will be a force to be reckoned with at the next World Cup.
The bronze medal playoff, I think it's the furthest we ever got, and it was kind of like our first taste of we can win something really significant for the World Cup. I like to think that we are quietly confident, but also you can't really, think too far ahead. I grew up in Western Australia, in Kalgoorlie, which is the gold mining capital of Australia. When I was growing up quite small in a country town, I think every weekend was dedicated to sports, from basketball to football, obviously. When I was young, my dad was really passionate about the Indigenous side and being Aboriginal, and how proud he was of the culture. So we'd always go out in the desert, teach me how to use bushcraft skills and living out basically in the wild. He was a part of the stolen generation.
As a part of the policy of legislations across Australia, where Aboriginal people were removed from their traditional lands and settings, were brought into a Western way of living. It was hard times for Aboriginal people.
He never grew up with education. He left school at a very young age because of all the bullying and the harassment. He just turned to alcohol to hide the pain. And, he took that path into religion, and he became, that person to help other Aboriginal people in the same spot to kind of find hope in, the midst of despair. My mum is American. She was in New York working on Wall Street, and her church had a missions trip to Australia. So she packed up everything. She lived in a tent in the middle of the desert, and she helped out women that were going through domestic violence. And during that time, she met my dad, and they fell in love.
Big aspect of who she is, being able to embrace not only her Aboriginality, and also embrace that she is the product of two cultures coming together.
I remember a couple times when my mum would go on a trip and leave us some money for food over the course of a couple days. My dad would give it to someone on the street who needed it more than us. Seeing that generosity that they extended to other people really kind of helped me to see what life is really about. We moved to Canberra when I was 11.
I think she found it a little bit odd to be away from Kalgoorlie, the bush, and all her relatives as well.
I didn't know anybody. The best way to do that is joining sport teams outside of school. And so my mum kind of asked me what I wanted to do. I said football, but we came late to registration day. The only position left was a goalkeeper.
Good. Justin, face to me. Unlucky, keep on the planet. What's allowed us to be effective here? What have we done well here?
Height.
What do you mean?
Like how high we started here.
100%. So now we're starting to deal with things outside of the 6-yard box. We're engaging pressure. Like it! Have some of that. Brilliant!
Growing up, my role model was Cathy Freeman. Yeah, I remember watching this on our TV set and just being like, this is crazy. It's an Indigenous woman that literally captivate all of Australia.
I remember the time when she won the gold medal and someone passed her an Aboriginal flag and an Australian flag. She ran with both of them. That was a great inspiration for all Aboriginal people.
She actually came to Kalgoorlie years earlier. My dad took me out to meet her and he was like, you're going to be like her one day. And I think that really kind of drove me to achieve. When I was 15, my dad got really sick. The doctor came up to me and he's like, your dad only has a day or two to live. The cancer's too aggressive. Yeah, that was it. So we had our last conversation together right there and then. And I remember the last thing he told me was he'll always be proud of me and always be looking after me. So I kind of hold that in everything that I do in life. And, you know, as long as I'm proud of what I'm doing and support of what my mum and dad would have, then I know I'm doing the right thing.
I couldn't even imagine the grief that Lydia went through after that, knowing that her dad was here one day and enjoying life and celebrating life with her and her mum, and then all of a sudden he's not there, you know.
After he passed away, during that time I turned my pain and hurt into football. And I think that's really drove me into that passion of playing. And I was at a phase where I was achieving things and progressing, and he never got that chance to watch me play for Australia. I made my debut for Australia in 2005.
When Lydia made that debut in the national team, was awesome. Australian representative, you know, and playing soccer, it's something that she loved. I was so proud, yeah.
When I reached 100 caps, I never would have thought that would have been possible. Having the belief of my teammates and coaches, it was pretty overwhelming to kind of know that I've been around for so long. Came to Brighton the beginning of this year. It's been really nice kind of being back in the UK and having the opportunity to play again and kind of cherishing that part.
Balance! Come on, you're better than that. Yeah, better. Good, play on. Okay, there's lots of good goalkeeping within that, from the bit of the start to the bit of the end.
I think the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand is going to be insane. All of us have been in positions where we've experienced heartbreak, we've experienced, you know, just nearly there, and we don't really want that to happen again. So I think that kind of is our drive leading into it of what we want to achieve.
She might not know it, but she's an inspiration into all the young girls and boys growing up, thinking, oh yeah, if Lydia can do it, we can do it too, you know. So yeah, she's been the greatest inspiration to many of us.
I love seeing people improve. I would love to be an advocate for the women's game, and I want to be a part of the next part and inspire that generation as well.